All right, I'm making sure the camera's working. Uh, I'm pretty sure I found it. Got the radio part, got it on its side, went through it, and I told you there were three ways that you could have crackling.
So Zach Neto will be the batter, leadoff hitter. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Ground out and a walk. And Newman takes his leadoff first, and the first pitch to Neto, over for a strike. Now time is called by Neto. He steps back out.
All right, what did I find? All right, first of all, I said you can get crackling noise from atmospheric lightning and thunderstorms. You get silver mica disease in the capacitors in the IF cans and other places in the radio. Third could be the somebody sprayed the band switch with deox, and it caused the plastic wafers in the switches to basically become conductive and arc. That's not what it was. All right, here. You saw me, I took the two RF front end tubes out, still got the crackling noise. Took out the oscillator and it went away. And I said, well, I know the crackling noise isn't coming from the IF cans. It wasn't. All right, so went in and I basically cut the B plus of the radio in half. And in one area I had the noise, in one area I didn't. Now it was very misleading, you know, as versus the if I had arcing of the Bakelite switches. It was just like it would go away, it would come back. All right, here's what I found. In these radios, you have a tube, looks like this. I know the lighting's not that good right now. This is a high voltage regulator tube. This regulates the B plus. OD3, something like that. All right, that tube has a gas in it. And when they go bad, it doesn't always conduct correctly. It cuts on and off. It's like when you get a neon bulb and it doesn't glow, it starts to flicker. Same thing. Each one of the flickers produces, in the tube, produces a crashing noise. Now, the regulator tube only goes two places in the radio. That's what makes it hard to troubleshoot. The regulator voltage goes to the oscillator, which I pulled that tube out. Remember? I pulled it out. And it also goes to the a BFO tube. It's the two oscillators that they don't want drifting on you. You don't want the local oscillator to drift. So you hit it with a regulated voltage. Same with the BFO. Once you dial in your beat tone for your CW, you don't want it drifting. It's annoying. So they run high voltage regulated to just those two tubes in the set. And that's why, you know, I knew to turn it. I took the antenna off the radio, and it sounded like static crashes or lightning storm. The last few nights, we had lightning storms in the distance, but this morning we didn't. And it was still doing it. And I'm like, the voice in my head, disconnected the antenna. So I disconnected the antenna, and it was still doing it. Then I said to myself, turn the RF gain all the way down. I did. Take the two RF tubes out. I did. Now, when I pulled out the oscillator tube, that's the tube that was taking the bad regulated voltage from the regulator tube and getting it in the circuit. So when I pulled that tube out, the radio got quiet. Also, if I went up in frequency on the radio, there's different bypass capacitors. When on the band spread, the band switch, there's different bypass capacitors. And there are different values as you go up in higher in frequencies. Also, the oscillator is running at a different frequency. So if it's being modulated by a crackling noise, you won't hear it as much as you go down in frequency. So I had this was an oddball repair. I got it. But you know what? I don't like working on stuff anymore. It's very frustrating because this isn't normal stuff. What goes on with these old tube radios. And I told you, you put the radio away. you get it working, you put it away. 6 months later, you pull it out. And I've been using it the last few days, and the regulator tube went bad. And it's just one of those things. And I did find it, and I had to put the wires back where I cut. I lifted some wires so I could actually follow the B plus through the radio, and then I could actually see the noise on the B plus. But then I realized the B plus was coming from the regulator tube, and I went over and I started to jiggle the regulator tube, and I started getting different results. And I know the NC57 has an OD3 in it. I went in the other room, pulled one out, brought it back, put it in, and then I'm set up. Just the noise went right away. So that's why I just want to tell you, there's 4 things that can cause crackling noise. So you wouldn't think about the regulator tube, because a lot of radios don't have the regulator tube in there. That's what makes a better radio. This radio's got some pretty good sound to it. Even the baseball game sounds great. And but there's so many parts in it. And as I'm in there, I'm chasing my tail in the same place I chased my tail when I first repaired it. And I forgot, remember I told you the gear broke. And the last video I said I replaced the gear. I didn't. I repaired the gear. And there was all kinds of capacitors shorted in this. You go watch the videos, but I just want to tell you, I've been using this radio because I like the sound. It really has good bass on it, and none of my other radios are set up to be also used by the public years ago as a radio, and it has a hi-fi setting for the AM and for the FM. I think that's it. All right, that's it.